replaced, this county's not going to move forward. There's a lot of things that have got to start happening over the next 8 years if they're going to correct the ship. They've got a small window. It sounds like a long time. I can tell you I've been doing this for a really long time. 8 years isn't squat in the grand scheme of turning a ship and correcting a ship. It ain't squat. So just going out and trying to make one change at the ballot box in the 2026 and one change at the ballot box is not enough. It's not going to be enough. You guys need sweeping changes. You need a whole bunch of people that are good people that you guys honor and respect to start standing up and go claim those commission seats, go claim those city hall seats, and get into those school boards. Those are how we're going to correct this ship. It's got to be a three-prong method to get into this state, this county, and start correcting this ship and pulling some of that corruption out and pulling some of that power back from these people. Because what happens in these counties, I'm just going to give you this educational part and then I'm going to let it go. But what happens in these counties is these politicians, they're VIPs, the people that pay the money, that get them these elections. Even though they come to you and tell you, oh, we're going to do this, this, and this for you, right? No, they're not. No, they're not. Once they get elected, they do not represent you, the people. They represent those people that funded their election campaigns and only them. So until you find a happy medium with the people that are funding them and you respect those people, right? Because one thing we've done is if you take developer money, you're the Antichrist in Manatee County. Okay? You take developer money, you are the Antichrist. So you're not getting voted for by the people. If we find out and expose that you have developer funds, you're not getting, why? Because we're done. The developers are the monsters in our community that have destroyed our community. So until Tennessee gets like that and says, you got money from who? Yeah, I'm not supporting you because we know you're working for them because they are. We want the people funding their campaign working for us too. So that's how we've got it. If we agree with the politicians, not just the politicians, but the people financially backing the politicians, then we might have a chance as a winner chicken dinner. But you got somebody that's being funded by somebody that's completely opposite from you, then you're a fool. You're a fool. Who do you think they're going to represent? That person that's giving them $50,000 or a couple $1 million, depending on what type of campaign they're running? You think that person there? Do you think they care about They need the money more than they need their vote. They only need your vote every 2 to 4 years. That's it. They need these financial people to be their buddies all year long. Remember that, folks. You got to start getting smarter than these sneaky, slimy politicians. So, I don't know. I just don't like Sumner County. So, I think at this point, we just need to go after the jobs. I think the jobs are going to be the most effective. I'm not going to sit here and have a pissing contest with these people. They're obviously clearly obstructing their own case. We're going to make some laws. We're going to get some laws passed in Tennessee. I guarantee that over the next 5 to 10 years that are going to be geared toward corrupted elected officials that are using lawfare, like Sumner County did. We're going to have to make sure that they have stiff penalties if they do this kind of stuff like they did to me ever again. So our work is far from done in Tennessee. And I think, I really truly do believe that Sumner County is starting to get a clue that they fucked up bad when they came after me. And if they haven't, they will. They will. I truly believe they will. Because one thing I don't do is break the law. I used to do it really well. And you know what? I was so good at it, I got away with most of it. Let's be honest. I have been arrested a lot of times, right? I've only been convicted twice, and those were DUIs, where I had a blow, and one I refused. So those are my charges, 2 DUIs. So not only did I do shenanigans, I got away with a lot of shenanigans. The stuff that I was arrested for, I was mostly defending myself in a lot of those arrests. Period. So it's like, and that's why they got thrown out anyways. But as far as the criminal conduct I did, I used to do some shenanigans, folks. I used to do some shenanigans, from kingpin type shit just straight shenanigans, okay? Unlawful, criminal, felonious shenanigans. And by the grace of God, I've never gotten in trouble for it. There's a lot of things that I will never ever even, but will never even be known out of my closet. I'll tell you that. I'll know it. And, at some point, life got too complicated. The drugs were taking me down. The alcohol was taking me down. I wasn't right mentally, spiritually, physically. And something had to give. And, I'm very thankful that, even though me and my father's relationship is not the best, I'm very thankful for him pushing me for recovery. I don't think I would be the person. I believe I would be dead right now if it wasn't for my father pushing me. And I'm sure he'd rather, have a strained relationship with me and me be alive than him having to bury me, And it got to the point where, it was getting to the point where I may have had to be buried. And I remember him coming to me. He's like, I got $10,000 to get you better or bury you with. Which would you like? That was the conversation. That's how the conversation started. I'll never forget that. So now you guys got Bullhorn Betty. I don't break the law. I used to break the law. I used to be pretty damn good at it too. But I don't do that shit no more. I had my 9 lives. I burned through 8 of them. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on this one. Yeah, keep it real. Yeah. Absolutely. So, you just do what you do. So I have a lot of repentance to give, and that's what I was telling on Jen's site yesterday, Why do I do this? This ain't making me $1 million, folks, okay? I spend more money than I make, that when I'm on the road. Like, it's very expensive out here. Why do I do it? This is my repentance. I was a shitty freaking person in my 20s. Straight shitty. If I didn't like you, I would just sucker punch you. I was mean. I was awful. I was drinking. I didn't care about nobody. I had no worries about a person. I didn't care about nobody. Hell, I didn't even care about myself. And that took me to low places. But I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm able to repent. I'm glad I'm alive, I survived, and it is what it is. I understand people, This boy, Sebastian Rogers, he didn't do shit. I was a troubled child. When I tell you I was a troubled child, I was a troubled child. I am surprised my mother decided to have another child after me. I'm still in shock. I'm glad she's here, of course, because I love my sissy. But I have no earthly idea what my mother was thinking. She had so much problems with me, sleepless nights, up nights, crying, wondering where I'm at, what I'm doing, blah, blah, am I dead, am I alive? And then she goes and has another kid. I'm like, what? What is wrong with you, lady? Are you glutton for punishment or what? Like, what the hell? But things happen for a reason, and we're definitely happy we got our sissy. But that's what really, really bothered me about this whole case, is just how much, and I think I brought it up to you guys many times, just how much Sebastian was in trouble. It always seemed like this boy was in trouble, and I'm like, I was a kid that was in trouble. I didn't give a crap about nobody. I stole my mommy's car. I didn't care about nobody. Did I get in trouble? Yes, I got in trouble, but I wasn't in trouble like this boy here has been in trouble. And I just can't understand how a boy that's autistic, that stays in his room and plays and has maybe a few personal space issues, so what? How the heck did he stay in trouble so darn much? I just couldn't for the life of me figure that out, because I truly was a troubled child. And maybe I did some of the stuff for a time. I don't know why I did half the crap I did. I'm looking back at 40. First of all, I don't remember half the crap I did. But, the stuff I do remember, I question myself. Like, what the hell was I thinking? And I can't answer those questions. I have no earthly idea. Okay? Why did I do that? I don't know. Okay? I don't know. I guess it sounded like fun at the time. I don't know. But But Sebastian, he was always in trouble. You know, out of all the stuff I've done, I remember my dad being so pissed off. He came in because I didn't say hi to him, and I went straight upstairs and I grabbed the phone and I called my boyfriend or something, and it really pissed him off, you know? So my dad came up there and he ripped my phone out of the wall. Next time you come in, why don't you say hi to me? He made a very valid point. It's stuck. I bet you I never walked in the house without saying hi and checking on my dad and seeing how his day went after that. But, you know, I've gotten in trouble. I've had consequences. I've had things that I liked taken away from me. But I have never had my father or my mother go into my room and take every one of my possessions and throw it out into a garbage bag. Like, that would have been, even at me being a normal human being, would have been torture. Chris likes to torture people, in my opinion. He liked to screw with Sebastian. Anything he could do, if Sebastian just didn't do everything like a normal kid did, Chris wanted to make sure he knew how unnormal and how he was going to punish him into normalcy. And that's what Lisa B always, she brought that up, and I've used that since because it fits. It fits. They tried to discipline Sebastian into normalcy. And I can just hear Chris saying, I know he can do it if he just tried. He's just not trying. Right? You know why? Because I know what kind of man Chris Proudfoot is. That's why. And he just can't stand. His whole family treated that boy bad. His whole family talked behind that little boy's back. His whole family, oh, you know, Katie's son, you know, that kid, that retarded kid, right? You know they were saying that. You know they were saying that. Because we heard Chris say that. We heard him use those words. We've heard him use those words. How do we know that? Because the neighbors told us. The neighbors told us. They heard him say those words. So let's be honest here. Let's really talk about how Chris thought of this child and how his family thought of this child. And over the time of constantly putting that in that woman's head and just stop, and always constant, all of her problems, they made sure that she knew all of her problems would end if her son just left. Chris giving her the ultimatum, your son or me, you're not going to be able to handle this home by yourself. You can't afford all these bills by yourself, he tells her. And then he leaves and never comes back until that boy is gone. That boy. And I keep saying that. You guys hear me say that all the time. That boy, right? Why do I say that? The people that have been here in this chat since the beginning know exactly why I say that boy. Because that's the way Chris was referring to him. There were a few things that Chris has said along the way that refer to that boy. And I remember doing a show on it, and it pissed me off. So at the end of the day, when I refer to Chris and Katie, I refer to Sebastian as that boy because of those statements. So if you're wondering why I do that, it's kind of a dig more than anything. But I truly believe it's time for forensics. But who knows? I think Sumner County is absolutely grossly incompetent. And if their investigators couldn't even get forensics done of the cars, they're not even worth the pay. They're not even worth the pay. So I think it's time for a full evaluation. So I don't know when I'm going to make the pool. I might do it in the middle, in between my my moving, you know, because I'm going to be selling the house, and after this year, after this election, I'm going to be working on trying to get the house sold and moved. And I think during that time, while I'm holding that money, looking for another another house, and where I'm going to be living in Florida, I think I might go up there and rent a place. So I'm not technically, it'll be a second home type of thing. But I'm not technically, I'm a resident there, but I'm an owner, you know, I have an apartment there. So, and I'm going to do that so I can start pulling public records. I'm I'm going to go in that county and start renting an apartment or something so I can start pulling people. I don't have to be a resident of Tennessee. I don't have to be anything. I can be a citizen because if I'm not going to be there for more than 6 months, I'm not a resident of Tennessee. And I don't plan on being there more than 6 months at a time, right? I'll probably be there for 2 or 3 months at a time, right? A week here, maybe a week here, maybe a month here, month here, month here. Doesn't matter. So I'll work the strategy for that, but I think I'm going to go in there and start evaluating staff, start evaluating who's the who of the county, who's the ones that are funding the county, who are the developers. That's what needs to happen. And if people are already there and you guys are little investigators, you guys need to start doing that. You need to start making lists. If you guys want to start getting with me, I'll start coaching you on what you guys can be doing in that county to help turn the ship. And you don't have to do it. You can do it all silently. I mean, there's going to be some things that are going to come in with your name on it. So you have to be prepared for that. They're going to know that you're looking into things, because you can't request public records without putting your name on it. But at the end of the day, if you're ready to make the commitment to correct the ship, I'll start working with you. I'll give you a plan of action, but you guys need a good strategy. And the strategy would be, you have to start identifying the problems in the county. And you may say, oh, well, I know who the problems are. It doesn't work like that, because sometimes you may think that it's this person, but it's not this person. It's the department, or it's the bureaucrat that's telling this person, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. And they're listening because they're too dumb to go think outside of the box or do any research themselves. And they like, oh, I can't do that. Okay, well, so it may not even be the politician. It may be a bureaucrat behind the politician. So you have to identify the problems in your community. And then you got to start working on removing all those problems from your community. You guys have a lot of unelected policymakers in your county, in Sumner County. They're the bureaucrats. They're the staff. They're the county staff. Some county staffs are good. Some county staffs not so good. Okay? When you have the level of corruption that you see in Sumner County, the staff is corrupted too. So you've got to evaluate the whole damn thing. And that's where education and experience comes in. So I really do think that that's going to be the way to handle all of this moving forward. So we'll put together a strategy. If you're from Sumner County and you're ready, reach out to me, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Trust me, I know it seems like we got a long time to get stuff ready. I've been doing this a really long time. I'm very effective. And I will tell you, no, we're out of time. If we're going to be making changes for 2028, we need to start today, okay? If you're going to be looking for 2030, we need to start today. 2032, we need to start today. You guys are sitting there saying, what? Yes. Guys, I'm telling you, I've been doing this a while. You've got to interview, you got to start getting people in there, you got to start getting people inspired and active, even the politicians, because you need people to replace these people. So you've got to start evaluating people to be put in these positions, people that really care about their community. Look at the people that give, the givers of the community, the people that are there. Pastors are really good. Sometimes not. I find with the pastors, in all honesty, the pastors on commissions, sometimes they have bleeding hearts. And with the bleeding hearts of a pastor, which, you love your pastors because they're great people, right? But when you're a taxpayer, you don't want that bleeding heart, because that when you have a bleeding heart on your board, that means you're going to pay more taxes, right? Because it just is. It just is what it is. So we had a pastor on our board. We had like 2 pastors on our board. And quite frankly, they were pushed around a lot by the other commissioners. And they were treated pretty poorly. And they weren't around long enough to be effective. So, there is that. That's something I can tell you out of the clergy, being community leaders. leaders. I would love to see more clergy be community leaders because I think they have the mind and the heart in the right place to do that. But unfortunately, depending on how your county makeup is, it doesn't necessarily always work out to be a good thing. So, not because I'm saying it, just because the community, it's hard to explain. Like, say, I'll just make it simple. If you're in a heavily Democrat state and you have a pastor that helps both sides, it might tick off the base, the Democratic base, and vice versa with the Republican side. When you have a Republican-led community and you're seeing a clergy person, the commissioner that's clergy, lean or help, it causes a divide. That's the problem. It's not that they're not good at their job. Actually, they're probably the best at their job. It's just the elective body doesn't put them in power very long because of that, and that's the problem I'm talking. So I felt like I needed to clarify that. I didn't want you saying that we're anti, religious clergymen being on the board. In my experience, I think they should be, because I think they have the mindset of what communities do need. It's just that depending on your community, whether it's heavily Democrat or heavily Republican, whenever, especially in this crazy world we live in now, it's like everybody's just the line in the sand. So whenever we have that line in the sand, it does rock the boat when people start going over that line, or whatever the case may be. But I think that they should be more involved, because they have more of a mindset, the mindset that's needed on those boards. But it always seems to tick one side of the aisle off or the other. That's the only thing I've seen. But we need good people, so people need to start stepping up to the plate. And I would tell you, I even had like that Terry Frizzell, that awful attorney. He used to be a police chief, from everything I heard. I realized why he's not a police chief anymore. He's a joke. He does underhanded, unlawful stuff. In my opinion, the man should be in jail, not with a freaking law degree, but that's just my opinion. I haven't even started with Terry Frizzell yet. And just to let you know, if you guys want to clip it and send it to Terry Frizzell, you want to give me my $7,500 back, I'm not going to destroy your law firm. But I plan on being there. Trust me, when this stuff is all said and done, Terry, I'm going to be protesting your law office. I'm going to have the paperwork. I'm going to show them exactly. I think I might even bring a projector, so they can see your conduct in court. I might even take some of those emails we've exchanged, some of those nasty emails you sent me, Terry Frizzell. I might put those up there on that screen, let them show them what kind of attorney they're buying. This is the kind of attorney, this is what he thinks of you as your client. Maybe we should start doing that. I'm coming for you, Terry Frizzell. I'm coming for all of you. You guys have no clue. Might as well start getting those backbones and balls now. Day late and a dollar short. So that's where we're at, folks. We did a great job with Sebastian. We're still in this community. I get, every time I go here, I get more and more angry. And that's when I decided, you know what, we don't need to be angry anymore, and we don't need to fight. You know what we need to do? We need to start making people lose their jobs. That's the only thing that's going to be effective. That's the last thing. We've done diplomacy. It's not working. It's time to go after jobs. I'm going after everybody's job I can. I'm going to start funneling some funds in there. We're going to start doing some advertisement for on social media. Is going to be cheap, and it gets out to a lot more broader people. But we're coming to neuter some people in Tennessee, and I'm not going to be done until those people are neutered. So maybe vindictiveness might be my new. Maybe we'll have vindictive Betty doll. We'll retire Machete Betty and get vindictive Betty instead. Let's do this. That's what I'm saying. Let's do this. So there's always, you know what? There's always hell to pay. You do underhanded stuff, and you get caught doing it. You know, it's going to be exposed and it's going to be held to pay. Look at this. This has gone on for 2 years. I'm going to be in freaking Tennessee for 10 years because of this. 10 years. Because I'm not going to get out of there until Eric Craddock is literally not the sheriff anymore. He has no idea. When I gun for somebody's job, I'm gunning for their job. I will not stop until he is off that force. Period. I will not stop. I will not stop. He's got the stink of Bullhorn Betty all over him. He's never going to wash that shit off. I mean, he can retire. He can stand down. He can resign. If he wants to do that, yeah, fine. But other than that, we're going to start embarrassing the crap out of people. So I'll start getting some advertisements. We'll start working on them. We'll start getting them going. We got 2026. We got 2028 coming up. If we can get some, politicians replaced and turned over in that county to some better people, that'll be a good start in 2026. But I think people need to be active. I don't see, we're coming up to an election. I haven't seen anybody door knocking in Tennessee. I don't know how you guys do your politics. Do you just put people on a poster and say, here's who we want you to elect? I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of activism in Sumner County, Tennessee around politics, and stuff like that. I don't get it. I guess we live in a different society in Florida. But it helps us, honestly. Oh, and Brooke brought up some good suggestions, some transparency boards and stuff like that. See, we have all that stuff in Florida. Like in Manatee County, we have all types of citizen advisory boards. All types for a lot of different things. And it's shocking to me that they don't have that stuff here or very limitedly. This is why they've been able to maintain control in the good old boy system, is because